everybody? Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, coming to you on a Thursday. And as I mentioned on yesterday's show, today is one of my favorite days of the entire year, as it is NBA trade deadline day. And on today's show, me and Izzy are just going to break down all of the deals that went down between last night when we went off the air until now. When we went off the air at about 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, a lot of stuff happened in the world of the National Basketball Association. In total, 18 trades went down between when we went off the air until just now. There's a lot of deals that pretty wild. I had a wild day at work, so I wasn't able to keep up with the way I like to. But I also, I'm very up to speed now. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point. Helping right there is the CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. Welcome into the show. Thank you very much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe as we cover the NFL, we cover the NBA, we cover college basketball, and we cover the college football as well. So keep an eye out for that content. We also do wrestling. We do some baseball content. We do some boxing content. If you have a niche,
we do a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything here at Prime Sports World. If you got a niche you like to enjoy, we got you covered. I'm also about to share the link to our streaming platform. So if you do happen to miss us live, you can always catch us over there. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and of course iHeartRadio. And that link is now in the chat in our main Prime Sports World Facebook page. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch, and we're on a plethora of other streaming options. NBA trade deadline, let's go. We're going to get into our much bigger winners and losers show. That'll be on Saturday when we talk about the winners and losers of the trade deadline, including the Chicago Bulls. Stay tuned for that show to find out where you think they land when it comes to winners and losers when it comes to trade deadline. Let's talk about the first trade that happened after we went off the air yesterday. Nothing major. Was this Kessler Edwards and some cash going to the Kings in exchange for David. I don't even know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who this guy is. Minshew?
David, if you don't know who he is, then it doesn't even matter.
This feels seriously. This just feels like a cash dump for the Brooklyn Nets. I don't really understand why they made this trade. This just feels like one of those trades that teams just make just to make a trade.
Yeah. Who was that? The Kings and the Nets? Yeah. That was just money. That was a money dump.
Let's get into some of the bigger trades. Let's talk about the first one here. We got Dwayne Dedmon. Also, I'm pulling this from USA Today. I was looking at the NBA.com and the ESPN.com. I didn't really like what they were offering me when it came to the trades, so I'm going to go with what they got on USA.com. But this website's a little bit buggier than I would like it to be.
He might be on. Everybody that the Spurs damn near traded for is being waived, dude.
I agree with you.
I think Dwayne Dedmon's going to be waived.
Dwayne Dedmon's going to the Spurs for a 28 second round pick. The Heat just get some cash. It's good for a team that's, hemorrhaging money like crazy. What do we think about this for either of these two teams? I don't think the Spurs. Yeah, Dwayne Dedmon's not going to be on this team at any.
This is the Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson effect, right? You see all the teams that are on the bottom just trading all their major assets away to get draft capital for future drafts, but also just basically they're saying, oh, we're tanking. We're tanking. We got rid of Jacopoto for a bag of chips and a sick can of soda, and we'll get to that too. And Dwayne Dedmon's probably going to get waived.
Yeah, 100%. He's not going to play on the Spurs. This is a trade we talked about yesterday. I'm going to skip that one. And then we kind of touched on this briefly yesterday. But the Knicks get Josh Hart. The Blazers get Cam Reddish. Luke, the kid from Kansas. Ryan Akadu, who used to be a Bull.
RTD Akino. Hey, you know who you sounded when you said that, David? You sounded like Andrulis. You sounded like Dave Andrulis. Remember when we used to go to the game? He's like RTD Akunda.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They also get a 2023 first round pick. This is lottery protected. So that we'll see what ends up happening. This seems like a lot to give up for Josh Hart. Cam Reddish, the player, has some upside and a potential first round pick that'll eventually be conveyed. If it doesn't convey this season, it turns into 4 second round picks. By the way, the second round picks in this year's draft were traded like crazy.
They were flying off the board. I mean, in one of them, the Atlanta Hawks sent out 5 second-round picks
I mean, the
for
Bucks set out 5 first-round picks for Jay Crowder in a deal that we'll get to. But
5
Knicks,
second-round picks for Jay Crowder. Like, what the
but
hell?
the Knicks, it gives you a defensive-minded wing, somebody you've kind of needed on this roster for a while. If you're not going to play Cam Reddish, I mean, Josh Hart's a pretty good alternative.
And also, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart both won a national championship at Villanova. So there's some relationship right there. And Cam Reddish gets to go on a team that has a mix of veteran and youth. I mean, you would say the only veterans pretty much that are on that team is Jeremy Grant, Damian Lillard, and Yusuf Nurkic. Then you have a whole bunch of young guys that are on the list. So I like the Blazers kind of mixing in veteran and youth. I think that's how teams should build. Instead of just going so damn young, they should have a good mix of vets and a good mix of youth on the team. I think that's what the Blazers are doing. Cam Reddish is a tremendously talented player. I just think he just needs to, he has a high ceiling, but he just, he hasn't hit it yet. He hasn't scratched it yet. But we've seen potential though.
Yeah, we've seen potentials a couple times in the playoffs when he was a member of the Atlanta Hawks. That trade has not really worked out for the Knicks. So, yeah, you're getting Josh Hart's a pretty good score. And then a really strange trade here. Jakob Poeltl goes back to the team that drafted him to the Toronto Raptors after he was traded as part of the Kawhi Leonard trade. The Raptors, obviously, they get Jakob Poeltl. The Spurs get Kem Birch, a 2024 first and 2 second-round picks. I got to be honest with you. I don't understand this trade. I understand it on the Spurs side. I mean, you get Kem Birch, a young big who has some upside. You get the first round pick, but Raptors, why are you trading for Jakob Poeltl? Like, you're not pushing for anything. This feels like he'd be like the last piece to a puzzle.
Yeah, you're not doing anything. I thought Jakob Poeltl would actually get traded to like the Celtics, like a team that actually needs a backup big. Like Robert Williams, next to Robert Williams or something behind Robert Williams. But yeah, this trade makes no sense for the Raptors. They're literally what are they, the 6th or the 7th seed right now? Currently they may not be in the play-in. They may be in the top 6.
They're not in the play-in right now. They're outside of the play-in.
They're outside of the play-in. I thought they were in the top 6. That's crazy.
No, they're for sure not. They've had a really, really poor season this year. And yeah,
horrible.
They are currently actually they're 10 seed. They're the 10 seed. They're
the 10 seed. Okay.
They're 2 games back of the Bulls. 1 game back of the Bulls. They're a game and a half back of Atlanta, and they are 4 games back of the New York Knicks in the 7th seed. They're tied with the Wizards record wise. So
that's So they're in purgatory right now.
I just don't understand why Jakob Poeltl's worth. I don't think he's worth a first round pick. Like, to be straight up honest with you, I just don't get this trade at all. Like,
that first round pick. I mean, depending on how the Raptors season goes, I mean, next year, I mean, that could be a valuable pick right there. And the Raptors just giving it away,
Yeah,
I just giving it away.
It makes zero
sense.
And
it's not protected either, is it? It's not protected either, is it?
It's fully unprotected pick. The Spurs are going to get it no matter what happens. So
that's insane.
Moving on to the big trade of the trade deadline, we got the Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns trade that broke after we went off the air last night. Also broke out like after midnight last night.
That shit broke after midnight.
I woke up at like 6 a.m. to our group chat just getting blown up. And I'm like, what is going on? Because there's Matt James going on and on and on. I'm like, what is happening here? And like, I had to scroll like way up to even see what the deal was. The Suns getting Kevin Durant and TJ Warren, and the Nets getting Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, who eventually will go to the Milwaukee. 4 unprotected first round picks. 23, 25, 27, 29, plus pick swaps in 28. This is probably the biggest deal of the entire trade deadline day. This deal right here.
This is, you know what? It's a good deal for both sides, obviously. The Suns get Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. I mean, Kevin Durant, top 3 scorer in NBA history. Like, not like in terms of the scoring list, but I mean, in terms of just eye contact. I mean, points per game, I think he's 2nd or 3rd behind Michael Jordan. Oh, he might be 2nd in terms of points per game. Kevin Durant, one of the best players, one of the best NBA superstars. Won a couple championships with the Golden State Warriors. He makes that team an instant favorite, in my opinion, in the Western Conference. Now, I don't think many teams, not I can't think of a team that could beat CP3, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Ayton in a 7-game series.
No,
Like,
I think it's going to be extremely difficult.
that is going to be very difficult to beat that team in a 7-game series. I know you're giving up Mikal Bridges, you're giving up Cam Johnson. Who cares? Neither one of those guys are going to end up like Kevin Durant. Am I right or am I wrong, David?
No, I 100% agree with you. I think, I think, yes, you have the argument there. I mean, Mikal Bridges is probably the best defender of this group, but Kevin Durant is a bucket. The dude could just flat out score the basketball. This is a win. This is a win now move. I love it for both sides. And I think, if you're Brooklyn, you think you saw the writing on the wall there and you're like, you know what? This is we're not gonna be able to salvage this. We might as well get what we can for him while he still has immense value. I mean, they got a haul for him. They basically got back all the picks that they originally traded for James Harden. This is a very good trade for.
This is a very good trade for both sides, and I get why Phoenix, traded those picks. I mean, obviously, because look, their championship window. We were saying this year it's closed. I mean, there's no way. But then now you get add Kevin Durant. I don't even care about TJ Warren. You add Kevin Durant. You just kicked the championship window wide open for at least the next 2 years. I know Chris Paul is 37. He's got at least 2 years, maybe 3, left of some decent basketball. And at least, and I know you're going to have Kevin Durant for at least another 3-4 years, especially if it works. I know they'll sign him.
He's under contract for 4 years after this season.
For 4 years. So having those first round picks. So David, getting rid of those first round picks, for the next 4 years, check it out. If we could be in championship contention and win a championship, maybe a couple out of the next 4 years, that's a win. That's a win for these Phoenix Suns. They don't care about those first round picks. No, but for Brooklyn, for Brooklyn, you get Mikal Bridges, who was starting to come into his own when you saw Devin Booker go down, CP3 go down. You saw Mikal Bridges. He's able to come off screens. He's able to create his own shot. He's able to shoot at a mid-range of 3. Mikal Bridges is uber athletic, a great defender. Cam Johnson, athletic, great defender, 3-and-D guy. Great shooter. And you got and then you add him to Cam Thomas, who just had dropped 3 40-plus point games. Okay, Nick Claxton. Seth Curry, and me and TJ said this, David, yesterday. I don't know if you read the messages, but now it kind of falls right back on Ben Simmons, doesn't it? Kind of like for Brooklyn.
He's got to be back to Brooklyn of the guy who was in Philadelphia creating offense and being the guy, because otherwise, I
don't know how this works without Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has to be the star, the straw that stirs the drink here in Brooklyn. And I think this could be a very talented young roster if Ben Simmons could just click it back on and play like he was playing in Philadelphia.
I agree with you on that. This is a good trade on ball around. Moving on from this deal, scrolling through it, we got the next deal that broke shortly after 10 o'clock. I think Thomas Bryant going to the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets get Thomas Bryant. The Lakers get Devon Reed and 3 second-round picks. His second-round picks basically had no value during this NBA trade deadline. What do you think of this deal?
Good. Nuggets get a backup center for Jokic. He plays a lot of minutes. Thomas Bryant's a defender. He wasn't happy with the minutes he was getting in LA, so I think he'll get more minutes there in Denver. So yeah, I like it. I like that trade. I like that pick. I like that for Denver to get spell Jokic with a quality big off the bench.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that the Lakers made this trade. I kind of thought Thomas Bryant was going to be – I know they necessarily don't need it with the trade that they made later in this trade deadline. This frees up freeing time for Jared Vanderbilt to play a little bit more. So, I know. I guess this is interesting for me for the Lakers side. I thought they'd hold on to Thomas Bryant.
To Thomas Bryant. Yeah, I mean, what and that's exactly – so Jared Vanderbilt's going to get more playing time, from that trade that they got with D'Angelo Russell. So, honestly, I just think that the Lakers, and we'll get to it probably down here, because they traded, Pat Bev as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
I think they're just trying to get rid of those guys that weren't as that didn't make them successful in the first half of the season, and they're bringing in new guys. We've seen this with LeBron teams before. Remember in Cleveland, right?
Yeah,
We
when he
got rid
brought
of all those guys.
the Jordan Clarkson group, that we brought in all those guys. So
Yep, and they went to the championship. So we'll see. I don't think this Lakers team will even sniff.
I mean, they're going to be interesting. I'm telling you, man, they're going to be awfully interesting when it comes to
with D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley.
Yeah,
those guys.
I think this is a team that can make some noise. I actually really like it a lot.
I just look at it. I'm like, I look at the other teams in the West, man. Oh, man, Dallas adding Kyrie to that bunch. Golden State Warriors Phoenix added Kevin Durant. Memphis, I think, Memphis. And who else? Godly, who I'm the catch me from the New Orleans Pelicans when Zion comes back.
They've been really.
Yeah, and they've been really good since Brandon Ingram's been back. I think they won the last 3 out of 4. So
I guess we'll see. I think the verdict's out on how good this Lakers team will be. We'll talk about them here in a minute. But yeah, the Nuggets, I think this is a pretty smart trade on their part. To trade number 9, we got the Celtics getting a big that could shoot the 3, and Mike Muscala, who played for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder get back Justin Jackson and 2 second-round picks.
So the Celtics were in for a backup center for Robert Williams. They get a backup stretch 5 in Mike Muscala, who, can give you serviceable minutes, 15 to 18 minutes a game. He can stretch it out whenever Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown collapse, or even one of them are on the floor. Even Malcolm Brogdon, if he collapses the paint, Mike Muscala could pop out on the pick and roll. He could roll. Quality big, can play some defense. I like it for the Celtics. It's just a backup big to spell Robert Williams because he's played a lot of things. We know his injury history.
And for the Thunder, you get the opportunity to get some more draft capital out of this. So I think this is a pretty smart move on their part. Mike Muscala, I'm not sure what his value really is on the open market, but this feels right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Moving on from this trade, let's talk a little bit about this mega trade. I'm not saying mega trade, but Jay Crowder going to the Milwaukee Bucks as a good 3-and-D wing. The Nets getting 2 second-round picks. The Pacers getting George Hill, who's going back to Indiana for Serge Ibaka, Jordan Nwora, who's an interesting young player, and 3 second-round picks. What do you think about the fit of Jay Crowder in Milwaukee, and what kind of basketball shape do you think he's going to be in with sitting out the entire season so far?
He's definitely gonna. I don't think he's been sitting on his couch eating, donuts and watching TV. I'm pretty sure he's been staying in shape with playing game shape. I think for him to get out there, I'm sure he's in shape. I just think game shape, getting out there and kind of running, getting the jitters out. He's gonna be a little rusty this season, but he's a guy, man, 3-and-D guy. He's big time in the playoffs. Yeah. That's a guy, he's a veteran guy. This is another veteran coming to a veteran team. The oldest team in the NBA is the Milwaukee Bucks. So, yes, I love this trade for the Milwaukee Bucks. Next, get 2 second-round picks. And the Pacers, George Hill comes back. Serge Ibaka is going to get waived, so he can go on the open market. Don't know what Jordan Nwora's, don't know what he's going to be. They probably waive him. And 3 second-round picks, it's nice. You don't think they waived? You think they hold on to Jordan Nwora?
Yeah, he's still got some upside. I think he thinks he's better than he really is, but I think he still has some upside there. I look for that to be a guy that they hold on to.
George Hill's a good because I think Godly, the other Holiday brother, he's not, is he on Indiana or is he hurt?
Justin Holiday. I don't know where Justin Holiday is right now. Justin's there in Indiana, but his little brother, I forgot what the little brother that plays point guard that they drafted a few years ago from UCLA. Well, they all went to UCLA, but he's still there. But I don't remember.
He's still there. I don't think he's playing much, so I think you get George Hill, backup point guard to Tyrese Halliburton. I like that, and he's a guy that's very familiar with the city. He's a household name there. He's a hometown kid.
And he's a good guy if you have around Tyrese Halliburton, kind of a veteran presence, knows how to play the game, respected around the league. Good. Moving on from this trade, let's talk about another 3-team trade. This one is interesting because the Sixers get Jalen McDaniels from the Hornets was a pretty good 3-and-D wing. The Hornets get Mekhi Luke, the kid from Kansas. So I guess he was redirected from the Blazers trade as part of this. And then the second round picks go to the Hornets. And then Matisse Thybulle goes to the Portland Trailblazers, a defensive player that they really kind of need with how their guards play. Their guards are not exactly the most proficient defensive players in the NBA. What do you think about this trade?
I love it for the Blazers. 76ers, I like it for the 76ers. I mean, you get a nice young player in Jalen McDaniels. Sky Mykhailiuk for the Hornets. I mean, we already know what the Hornets' direction is. Tank City for Scoot Henderson and Victor Wembanyama. So, so I like this more for the Blazers, in my opinion, just because Matisse Thybulle is a quality player, a great defender on the perimeter. They desperately need that. Anthony Simons, Damian Lillard aren't the prototypical defenders that they need. They're actually they're not good at all. They're trash. They're trash. When they're on the floor together, they can't stop a fly, David. They really can't. I've seen that the other day when they played Milwaukee. It was like every single possession, Milwaukee came down. It's like they scored, and it's because those guys just aren't good defenders. They're just not great defenders. So, and then Josh Hart, isn't the absolutely greatest defender. So you upgrade at the perimeter defense.
Josh Hart's gone.
Yeah, I know he's gone, but I'm saying back when he was on the team.
But Matisse Thybulle is a better defender than Josh Hart, so he might be the best wing defender in the NBA.
Absolutely. So that's what I was getting to. So you upgraded. Get rid of Josh Hart, adding in Matisse Thybulle. I think that's an upgrade on the defensive end for the Portland Trailblazers.
And Jalen Johnson could really score. Like, he's a good 3-and-D wing. I think it's an upgrade over there too. 4-team trade. This is a real head scratcher. I don't really understand a lot of what the nuts and bolts of this particular trade. The Hawks get Sadiq Bey. The Hawks get Sadiq Bey. The Pistons get James Wiseman, because that just seems to be the island of the misfit big men. We had Marvin Bagley get traded here last offseason or last trade deadline. Now James Wiseman gets traded to the Pistons. The Warriors return Gary Payton II. The Blazers get 5 second-round picks out of this trade. I also think Kevin Knox went to the Blazers as part of this trade, or somewhere.
Yes,
I do not know for sure because I haven't been able to confirm that anywhere else.
I'll look it up right now, but let me break it. Sadiq Bey, I talked about it in years past. This guy probably is one of the hardest working NBA. This guy worked so hard, right, that his his manager, or they told him, like, dude, you got to stop training so hard. Like, he went up into the highest peak or something in Colorado, like high altitude. It was like training. Like, they had to tell him to stop training for basketball. That's how hard this guy trains, Sadiq Bey. But he's a 3-and-D guy, very tough. I think the Hawks, that's what they needed, was a tough guy on the wing, man, because sometimes they could get bullied.
He could flat out score.
And he could score too, man. He's a hard worker. We've seen it. So the Hawks get a good one in this one. And here you go. James Wiseman going to the Pistons. You said it best, right? It's like an island for misfit big men. I just think that James Wiseman needed a fresh start. He's averaging 19 and 11 in the G League. Steve Kerr's reluctancy to play him or even put him in rotation consistently or even at all was kind of wearing thin on me and wearing thin on maybe Warriors fans and definitely wearing thin on James Wiseman, right? Because he's got a lot of talent. Injuries kind of plagued him in his first couple years of his career. But I think the Pistons, if he can turn into the talented, second number 2 overall pick that he was picked from the Warriors, I think the Pistons get a great big man here. And then the Warriors getting Gary Payton II. I mean, you could have just, if you're just gonna get him back, you could have just signed him to a deal.
That's true.
I don't get this. I don't get that.
I don't think they could because their cap situation. So they just trade out James Wiseman's salary for Gary Payton II, and the Blazers get 5 second-round picks because. I guess. I don't know.
Whatever.
They just signed Gary Payton II. I just don't understand how James Wiseman had. This is all the value he had. Basically, he had Gary Payton II for James Wiseman, and most of those second-round picks are coming from the Golden State Warriors in this trade. I don't get it. It's when we do the winner or losers trade, the Warriors will for sure be a loser. They also did not fix the problem that they're going to have now that Steph Curry's going to be out for a while. They did not get a guy who could replace his offense. I don't know. Moving on to the 13th trade, a trade that was borderline shocking to me when I saw this come across The news.
I told you he was getting traded, David.
I was shocked. I'm telling you, I was completely shocked. The Clippers, they get Bones Highland. The Nuggets, all they got for him was 2 second-round picks. Bones Highland is a baller, and he can really play. He probably becomes their starting point guard there in Los Angeles, unless they get Russell Westbrook, obviously, which is potential. It probably could happen.
I think that is going to happen.
2 second-round picks for Bones Highland. I just don't get this on the Nuggets.
That is. You know what? Honestly, David, I think that's the steal of the day. That has to be the steal of the day.
I agree with
because Bones Highland is a guy. He's a quality. He can start in this league. At some point, Bones Highland is going to be an NBA starter at the point guard position.
Yeah.
Right now,
it's not like they traded for somebody that eats his minutes immediately. Like I don't get this.
The Nuggets could have kept Bones Highland. I don't understand this. They're the number 1 seed in the West. I don't understand why
unless I think he's going to be a free agent this offseason because he was a second-round pick. I think you only get him for 2 years. So unless they're concerned they're not going to be able to re-sign him, so they're just like, okay, we're going to get 2 second-round picks is what we can get for him. This is a head scratcher. I don't get it.
No, it's definitely a head scratcher. Bones Highland, you're the number. Like I said, you're the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Bones Highland is your backup point guard. He can help you win today, and you just trade him away for 2 second-rounders. I mean, I would have worried about his contract situation after the season. If I lost him, I lost him. But at least this season, I have a guy that can back up, Jamal Murray, and we know his injury history. If Jamal Murray goes down, who they turn to?
I have no idea. So I'll take a look at their roster here in a second. But yeah, I don't know who the backup would be to come in if Jamal Murray was to get re-injured. I don't get this trade. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It doesn't make any sense to me either.
Unless they think that they're going to get Russell Westbrook, which I doubt. Jamal Murray is hurt right now. Bruce Brown is technically their backup point guard with Ish Smith backing him up because he's been in the NBA forever.
Ish Smith is solid, but they're nowhere near Bones Highland.
Yeah, I don't get it. To the Hawks again. This is a trade that I don't know. Okay. Garrison Matthews and Bruno Fernando go to the Hawks for Justin Holiday, Frank Kaminsky, and 2 second-round picks. I guess. I don't know.
I guess whatever.
I don't know why either of these teams made this trade. I'm just gonna move on. And then
baby.
Another big trade, I think, in my opinion. Lakers get Mo Bamba on a decent salary there, and all they had to give up was Patrick Beverley. This is an interesting trade, I think, because Patrick Beverley's role has kind of been reduced with the Adam Malik Beasley, with the adding of D'Angelo Russell. So Patrick Beverley becomes expendable, and Mo Bamba is a big guy. He can play that 5 position that you just traded away Thomas Bryant for. I love this trade actually for the Lakers. I'm not crazy about this for the Magic.
Well, I don't think Patrick Beverley is going to be a Magic. I think they'll end up buying him out, waiving him, and letting him go on the open market.
Then it makes even less sense.
That's what I'm saying. I think this trade makes no sense for the Magic. I think they are another team that's like, well, we're not that good. I mean, we got a bunch of young players. With the sky is is the limit in the future, and I think they're entering their name again in the top 3 overall. The Scoot Henderson, Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes is what the Orlando Magic are doing here by getting rid of Mo Bamba, getting Patrick Beverley, and I'm assuming he's going to get bought out, waived, or whatever the case is, and he's going to be on the open market.
I think so too, but I don't understand. Like, Mo Bamba probably has more value than this. I just don't get it.
Yeah, you probably could have got something. I would have asked for like one of those first round picks, that in 2027 or something.
Even if they'd given up second round picks, I would have liked to have something tangible that, hey, we turned Mo Bamba, who was the top 5 pick when he was drafted, or top 7 pick when he was drafted, into something tangible. We got a draft asset, something. Because I know he hasn't been remarkably good this season. I know he was better last season. And I know kind of Bull Bulls kind of stole his role this particular season.
Him and the return of Jonathan Isaac as well.
True. So
coming back.
I don't get this string. I think Mo Bamba had more value than this. I'm sure TJ would voice the same rapport. I think.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. Then the Clippers get a big man in Mason Plumlee. If they get Mason Plumlee, I don't know. The Clippers necessarily needed a big man. They gave up Reggie Jackson, who was really valuable on the team that when they went to the conference finals.
He's getting waived, by the way, by the Hornets.
Oh, I imagine so. But I mean, if they must be really, really sure that they're going to get Russell Westbrook, if they're basically trading away their starting point guard, because John Wall also got traded away and probably will get bought out. That's a whole nother thing we'll get to in here in a minute.
Dude, I don't even know what I think the Rockets just did that to just mess with him. Mess with him.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff you was talking, and we're gonna trade you back and mess with you, and we might put you back on the bench. We may not even buy you out, John Wall. We may just let you sit here and deal with these knuckleheads.
Anyways, this trade, we'll get to the next one. I think that's the next one. But the Clippers get Mason Plumlee, who's a good big who can pass a little bit, make his own offense. He can block some shots. I just don't. Why would you trade Reggie Jackson unless you're sure you're going to get Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, I that's exactly what this trade is. I think they bank on getting Russell Westbrook. I just don't understand why they would get rid of Reggie Jackson. He's so bad. He was their starting point guard.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the Clippers were doing here. Like they didn't need a backup big.
They traded away a starting point guard for a fringe backup big.
They didn't need a backup big. Oh, I just got a report that Reggie Jackson, after his buyout, is eyeing to join the Phoenix Suns. So that's all right. Whatever. The rich get richer. But anyways, yeah, I don't think this doesn't make any sense for the Clippers, who I don't. Their championship window's closed, in my opinion, as well.
I think they still got a chance as long as they can stay healthy. But
you think they still got a chance with Kawhi Leonard? With what? Yeah. With what though?
As long as they can stay healthy, if they get Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Zubac,
Norman Powell,
Eric Gordon, now Bones Highland, Norman Powell, Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, who's having his worst season since he's been a rookie. But yeah, I actually think this is a pretty solid roster. I think they could make some noise in the playoffs if they make it.
Think so?
Moving on to the team trade we just referenced. The Clippers get Eric Gordon and 3 second-round picks. The Rockets get Danny Green, John Wall, a first-round pick swap with the Clippers, and the Grizzlies get Luke Kennard. This John Wall thing, like I'm telling you, they must have just been like, you know what? We'll just John Wall, you want to get bought out and you want to leave the team and you want to talk smack? We're gonna trade for you. This trade, when I saw this, I said, man, the Houston Rockets are playing some mad mind games right now, because there's no way in hell that I've never seen anything like this, where a team that didn't play this guy at all last year wanted to play the young guys. He was like, I hate this team. I hate that city. I hate everything about Houston. And then they trade for him, and they literally can be like, you know what? Hey, we'll pay you for you to just sit on a bench and just watch all these knuckleheads and do, you know what I'm saying? Like, for you to be miserable. And they control his destiny pretty much. So John Wall's I feel bad for the guy. He's got a year on his contract after this, so I imagine that they're not going to buy him out. Danny Green will probably get bought out. He hasn't played much this season, anyways. Luke Kennard is a good shooter that the Grizzlies get. I don't really know what his role is or how much he's going to play
over there. Yeah,
Clippers. Eric Gordon. He's a good bench player that can really score the basketball. I like this trade for them a lot.
Rounders. Oh, I love this trade for the Clippers, and I love it for Eric Gordon. He just looked absolutely worn out, like his patience was running thin there in Houston. He just looked like he was not having fun at all. I mean, if you guys haven't seen the clip where Jabari Smith and I forget who else was arguing on the bench, and Eric Gordon just sitting there like, man, I just send me out of just get me the hell out of here.
Trade number 18, Devontae Graham goes to the Spurs. They also get 4 second-round picks. The Pelicans get Josh Richardson. Josh Richardson gives them a defensive-minded wing. Devontae Graham kind of was irrelevant on that Pelicans team ever since they traded for CJ McCollum. Josh Richardson gives them a defensive-minded player who can shoot the basketball a little bit. This is a lot to give up, though, for Josh Richardson. 4 second-round picks.
Second-rounders. Ooh, man. I think Devontae Graham might get bought out here.
I don't think so. He's got some years left on that contract. I'd be shocked if that happened.
How many years does he have left on there?
I think it's 2.
Because I don't know what the hell the Spurs why. They are just getting rid of all the good. They just tank it. They're just saying, man, we're just gonna tank. We're just gonna tank. Yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna get bought out. You're right. I think he has a couple more years on his deal. Yeah, no, I like this trade for the Pelicans and the Pelicans only because Josh Richardson is a 3-and-D guy. He's shown that he can put it in the basket. He can shoot the three. That's good for when Zion comes back, especially when
Yep.
Bi collapses the paint, especially when CJ collapses the defense in the paint as well when he's driving and kicking. So I like this for Josh Richardson. They have a bunch of those guys: Trey Murphy, Herb
Yeah.
Jones. Now you add Josh Richardson. And then Devontae Graham. You talked about CJ McCollum. But the emergence of Jose Alvarado as well kind
Yep.
of phased Devontae Graham out as well in the last
100%.
year and a half.
Devontae Graham has 2 more years after this on his contract, so he's under
He's
contract.
not
for
getting
2
bought
more.
out.
He's not getting bought out. He's got 3 years left
He's
on
not
that deal. He's going to be stuck in San Antonio for a hot
But
minute.
you know what? I'll say this though. Devontae Graham, he did have that 20-point season before he went to the Pelicans.
Yeah, when he was
In Charlotte.
when he was in Charlotte, he was good for their team. He just doesn't. He's never had a role in New Orleans after they drafted Zion. It just never worked out. And I don't know.
Yep.
Devontae Graham was always kind of their backup plan there in New Orleans. They thought they were going to get Kyle Lowry. That never worked out, so they kind of panicked and signed him. Now they're stuck with him. Now the Spurs get him. To the final trade, Darius Bazley goes to the Phoenix Suns. Darius Bazley, an interesting wing player. Dario Saric goes to the Thunder along with the second-round pick. Dario Saric really never looked like the same guy after that ACL tear. He gets to go to a new place in Oklahoma City. I don't know how much he's going to play or if he'll even remain there through the process. So,
and Darius Bazley's a young.
He's basically Mike Muscala.
Yeah, and Darius Bazley's a young, athletic, small forward, power forward kind of. Well, he's more of a small forward to me. But Darius Bazley's a young, athletic kind of wing player that can play defense right now, still kind of putting it together offensively. But the Suns, I think he'll come off their bench for them. They need a guy like him, especially since getting rid of Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. They're going to need some defenders on that wing, and Darius Bazley brings that to the Phoenix Suns. So I like that for the Suns, getting a young guy like Darius Bazley. And with all the young players that the Thunders had, all the young players that the Thunders were playing, like he was getting phased out of that rotation.
100%. You get Darius Saric, you get a second-round pick, you get more draft assets. And that, my friends, has been all 18 picks that were made after we went live yesterday. So, yeah, that's been our NBA trade deadline recap as we break down all of the deals that went down. If you're looking for a winners and losers show, that'll be on Saturday, probably go around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So keep an eye for that content.
Let me ask you a question. Like, after this trade deadline, right, the deadline's already passed, the buyout market is going to be crazy. That's a whole other thing, guys, to watch out for. The buyout market, it's going to be insane. It's going to be another thing. Like, you're going to have players that are getting bought out, waived, big names. I mean, like Derrick Rose will probably get bought out. Patrick Beverley get bought out. Russell Westbrook will get bought out. Where are these guys? Reggie Jackson get bought out. Where are these guys going? Everybody, I mean, we're going to be on the lookout for the next couple of days to see where these guys are going to go in the buyout market. So there's a lot of big names out there. John Wall, so a lot of big names out there.
We'll see what ends up happening. If you keep an eye out for our content, we still got one more show tonight. We're going to be breaking down all of the offseason for every team in the NFC West besides the Cardinals, who we already did. That story is going to start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So keep an eye out for that content. I've been David Huffman. Right there is the CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are also streaming on all plethora of streaming platforms. I've shared that link. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and, of course, iHeartRadio. So thank you very much for checking out this show. Izzy, what we do hit the prime, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, we bring the heat. Ladies and gentlemen, and the trade deadline was definitely bringing the heat worthy.
100%. Keep an eye out for that content. You doing the college basketball show this weekend on Saturday?
Yes, doing the college basketball show. Probably try and get it Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. So look out for that content Friday night from me for the college basketball show.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Have a good night, guys. I will see some of you guys tonight. Peace out.
Peace out.